Welcome, welcome, welcome. Here we are again for another episode of Glorious Life on Wheels. I am so happy to have you joining me. Today, I am doing something that is so simple, but so wonderful, and something we all probably have had as kids, and that is mac and cheese. I was going to be doing this in a couple of weeks from now, but I had a viewer request, so I'm doing it this week, stovetop mac and cheese. Before I get started, I wanted to just let you know that I'm going to start a few more ideas and things on this program. One is I'm going to do a weekly viewer tip of the week. That is the weeks that I have tips come in. And then I like to every maybe, 4 or 5 weeks, do a viewer recipe. So would you send me in some recipes that you think would do well in a van cooking on a butane stove? It has to also be very, very simple so anyone could make it, even if they have no cooking skills, that they can make it. But I will feature your recipe and I will do a shout out to you as the source of that recipe. So we have some exciting things coming along. The viewer tip that I'm going to do today in this segment is from Freedom Dove. She wrote in about the potato salad that I did last week, and she said what she does is it's either cuts up or after she cooks the potatoes. I'll have to go back and double check. But at any rate, after she has them cut up, she soaks it in vinegar and then puts them in the refrigerator overnight. And I thought that is a wonderful tip because it really enhances the flavor. I like to use vinegar and marinate my chicken in a vinegar and season marinade, sometimes overnight before cooking. And it really, really enhances the flavor, or even for a couple of hours. So that's the tip of the day from the viewer tip today, and that's from Freedom Dove. Soak your potatoes in vinegar before you make your potato salad. So let's get started with this mac and cheese. First of all, let me tell you what ingredients you're going to need. This is stovetop mac and cheese. You're going to clearly need some elbow macaroni. I have a 16 ounces, and I'm going to use about maybe 3/4 of this packet. You also are going to need cheese, and I am using sharp cheddar cheese. And I don't think any other cheese gives as good a base as sharp cheddar. I'm going to be shredding this myself, and if I'd had the other cheese, I would have shredded it myself, but I didn't, so I'm going to be using about maybe, I'd say a cup, maybe not quite a cup of this Kirkland brand. And I like this because it has Monterey Jack. It also has Asadero cheese and a couple of other cheeses in it. I like to blend cheeses, but if you only have sharp cheddar, that's fine. I also like to add about a tablespoon or so of cream cheese. I think it just gives it a little more richness, and I use the one that has chive and onion. You're going to also need some sort of milk. Do not, I beg of you, do not use reduced fat milk. This is not a reduced fat recipe. If you really want it to come out well, I suggest using half and half. I didn't have any half and half, so I'm going to mix some milk and some whipping cream to get my half and half. But to get that richness, you really need half and half. And of course, you're going to need seasonings. I like salt, but I'm using Badia today. I don't use a lot because the cheese has salt in it. Garlic powder, onion powder, black pepper, and from those of you who watch me, you know that I add chicken bouillon when I make potatoes or when I do pasta. It just enhances the flavor of the noodles. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to add these noodles. I'm going to add about, 3/4 of that pack. And then I'm going to stir that up, get that mixed. I've already have my chicken bouillon in here. You actually could just do a quart or so or more of chicken bouillon, the liquid, if you want. But I just add the El Pollo to my water. Now I'm going to, while that is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start grating up my cheese here. And I like it, I don't like it really, really fine. I'm going to get it about, you can see that about the size of the grating that I use on this. So we're going to go ahead and grate up this cheese while this is, I'm going to do it on this side over here. Grate up my cheese, and we'll be back in a minute after the cheese is grated and the noodles are done. Okay, our noodles are all done, as you can see. So I'm going to put them to the side, and I have, what you do is you melt about 2 to 3 tablespoons of butter in the pot, and then gradually added my cream and my milk. But again, you would have half and half, or even all cream, but I think half and half is best. Now, as that's warming up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add, I think I'm going to melt my cheese first before I add my cream cheese. So I'm going to add, this is about 12 ounces of sharp cheddar, and I'm going to add that here a little at a time and let it kind of melt. And I've got this on about a minimum low to medium heat. And I'm just going to melt this. Now when I do this in the oven, I do a roux with flour and egg, but I don't do that when I do it stovetop. Just a very, very simple cream sauce that you're going to make. And let me give a shout out. It was Liz B who asked for this recipe. So Liz B, this is for you. You wanted something that did not include Velveeta in the particular recipe. So I'm going to add the rest of my cheese here, my sharp cheddar, and then I'm going to go in and I'm going to add my mixed cheeses. Oops, that's a little bit, I don't want it boiling, so I'm going to turn it down just a little bit there, because I don't want it to boil. All right, I'm going to add this to it. And see how that's melting nice. Oh, that's so rich and creamy. Then as that's getting creamy, I'm going to add, I'm just going to take a handful, like I said, about a half a cup or so, and I'm going to add that here. My daughter likes really, really cheesy mac and cheese, so that's what she has programmed me to do. But don't get your milk boiling there. Keep it on low. Very low. Very low. As low as I can get without this turning off. And it's melting up. See how it's melting up nicely? It's almost ready. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add about a tablespoon or 2 of my Philadelphia cream cheese that has the chives and onion. And I'm going to melt that up in there. And then we're going to be ready to add the noodles. Oh, this is looking good. Looking good. And I'm going to do a little, I ran out of teaspoons. I'm going to have to do it with a fork. That's going to be a little tricky, but I will manage. I'm going to just check and see if this is as cheesy, but I can't imagine that it's going to need more cheese in here. That's good. Plenty of cheesy. I'm going to turn the gas off on this. Get the last little lump of that Philadelphia cream cheese melted there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring over my bigger pot, which I actually could have just used this to add my elbow macaroni. And then I'm going to stir in gradually my cheese sauce. And here we go. That is delicious. Put this down here, and we're going to mix this up good. Oh my goodness. This is looking so good. Oh, yummy, yum. Now, again, I have to make sure, don't have your gas on high when you're melting that cheese. Keep it low. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my seasoning. I'm going to add probably about a teaspoon, maybe a little more of onion powder. I'm going to add some garlic powder. Probably about, well, you know I love garlic powder, so probably a little more than a teaspoon of garlic powder. And then I'm going to add some Badia, or you can just use sea salt, about a teaspoon of sea salt. I'm not going to add too much of the seasoning salt because, again, the cheese already has salt in it. And then I'm going to add about a teaspoon of pepper. These seasoning amounts are really to your taste. It's hard for me to even give you amounts because I go based on how it looks, you know, the creaminess of it. And I'm a cook by look and by taste. Once I taste it, I know, oh, it needs a little more of this or it needs a little more of that. And here we go. I think we're good to go here. Let's go ahead and sample this up and see where we are in a taste. Do I need to add? I think I need a little more salt. And actually, I think I could have stood a little more cheese. So since the macaroni is still hot and the sauce is still warm, I am going to add some more cheese to that. Since I put my spoon in the sink, I don't have that one anymore. And I'm just going to add a little more cheese to this. And it will melt down. And also sometimes before I serve it, I put a little cheese on top and let it just melt down. See how that's melting down because my noodles are still warm and my sauce is still warm. And but that's how you do. You just taste it as you go and you'll know what you need to add to it. Let me add a little more. Okay. I think we're good. And we're going to do an official tasting here where I'm going to plate it up and tell you exactly how it is. So we'll be back in a minute. All right, the part that you've all been waiting for. Let's dig in and see how this is. This is delicious. When I add the recipe, I'm going to add just a little more cheese, as you saw that I added, of the mixed cheese. This is just good. Mmm. Mmm. Sorry, you know, I can't help myself. Mmm. You've got to try this. Well, I'm going to stop, but believe me, I'm going to finish it up as soon as we get off camera. Perfect blend of cheeses. Actually, if you want to add Parmesan cheese, or if you want to add other cheeses that are your favorites, by all means do it. Just don't add that grated canned Parmesan. Please don't do that. But this is so delicious. And Liz, I want you to try it and get back with me and let me know how you liked it. Thank you so much again for your support, all of you. I'm going to ask you to do one more thing for me. My goal, as impossible as it sounds, is by the end of September to not only start a second show, our second video per week, but also to be at 5,000 subscribers. Do you believe that? From February to the end of September to be at 5,000 sounds impossible, but I believe in miracles and I think it can happen. Would you reach out and just share this channel with everyone you know? Give shout outs, let them know. I just would really appreciate it. I just want to thank you again for all of your support. I love all of you. I have so much gratitude in my heart to you. May your journey be filled with joy and blessings. Until next week, and send in those tips so I can use your tips, and also start sending in those recipes so I can add it to the viewer recipe segment that we're going to be adding to this. Take care. See you next Thursday, same time. Bye, friends.